I just tried going live on YouTube with the vertical stream, and within 3 minutes, like 18 concurrent viewers, all of which have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about and the things I talk about on this channel. And it's like, oh my god, what am I doing, man? I had to end the stream. It's like I'm gonna have like 18 viewers that don't know a thing of what I'm fucking talking about. Well, the live I was on the live I was talking about Pete Sapper and the teachings of his teachers like R.J. Spina and I think Sarah Alcaldi. Generally, the idea of and he says it all the time. He says, "You need to remember that you are an infinite source creator being." And I feel like this is a concept that's pretty popular in New Age spirituality in general, and I don't use the term New Age spirituality as pejorative. And I think it's largely tied to the concept of manifestation in general. The idea of remembering that everything, the all is mind, everything is a projection, and you do have the power, and you can tune into the power to turn reality into whatever you desire it to be. I can see why Christians kind of take issue with this idea, because implicitly it's the concept of what you think that you're God, you're going to play God on this world and turn it into whatever you want. You think that you're the creator. And I feel like the truth is kind of in the middle. Because anyone who studied Kabbalah knows that that consciousness did emerge from Keter. The Eyeh Asher Eyeh. Am I going the right way? Well, I'm about to find out. I'm driving to Hollywood, Florida. We do come from that original spark of source. And I am that I am, and I will be what I will be. And we are a part of that emanation. So it's true that God is creating through us. And we are God. This is absolutely true. I think the thing that these content creators, and there's a lot of them that talk about you are an infinite source creator being. I think the thing that they're always missing is they are looking to the Neptune. They are looking to the Keter. They are looking to the Eyeh Asher Eyeh, that the I am that I am, and I will be what I will be. They are looking to that source potential energy that's inside of us, but they have overlooked why is that Saturn there. They just see that those limitations and those obstacles and that rigid structure as an impediment, as an obstacle that you just need to overcome. And you can all see the name of my channel, Saturn's Return. I see a very rich, important spiritual significance to the astro-theological properties of Saturn. Kind of like Gnosticism. Gnosticism is just a big fucking mess. And it does describe a lot of true things and true concepts, but it creates this totally warped and misleading theology and mythology around it. It talks about this world being created by a Yaldabaoth and a series of archons that are gatekeepers that are stopping us from reaching the divine. Throw all that shit away, please. We're talking about Saturn. Saturn is that bound. Saturn is that gatekeeper, and Saturn is a hand of God. I mean, these stories get kind of ridiculous in Gnosticism. It's like, okay, so Yaldabaoth is the fake God, and there's a higher God beyond that. And this Yaldabaoth is evil, and we need to overcome it. And say, okay, well, why would your perfect higher God allow that. You know, it really, when we put things in an astrotheological lens, it really makes a lot more sense. Saturn, which is the lord of the bound and the lord of the wall, separating us from divinity, and also the initiator into divinity, that is the means by which we are perfected through the trials of separation and individuation from divinity and source. Consciousness is matured in this way. The consciousness that exists beyond the bound of Saturn has basically no experience of darkness, of limitation. Talk about this in other videos. I always give the example of we are created in a world that's basically a form of programming code, but in software only 0.00001% of code is harmonious and makes for a functional software, and the other 99.99999% of possibilities are chaotic and they fuck things up in that software. Yeah, once again, that's true. And most consciousness is virgin. Most consciousness is completely innocent and untouched by that 99.99999% of consciousness, because it exists as non-dual light, as part of the Logos Spermatikos. This consciousness is so virgin and innocent that very often it seeks limitation and the experience of darkness, the experience of the 99.99999% of dysfunctional code that is limiting and subjugating, so that it may better understand. And that consciousness is us. So we willingly become ensnared in this cycle. Right now, keep in mind, everything beyond Saturn is that which is beyond cycles and beyond prisons. Uranus signifies liberation from the imprisonment of cycles. Similarly, and this is a little interesting little detail, in traditional astrology, Jupiter signifies liberation as well. But we really need to parse the difference there. We remember from my alchemy of the angles, we have Saturn at the nadir, Jupiter at the ascendant, with rising from the ascendant to the midheaven, the sun, and then descending from the sun to the descendant, Mars, and then burning things away at the descendant to the nadir again. So in that cycle, which is very seasonal, Jupiter signifies the liberation from the prison. Saturn signifies the imprisonment. Following that is the liberation from the prison. So that's rising back up to the ascendant from rock bottom of nadir. So Jupiter in traditional astrology actually was the signifier of being released. If you were a slave, if you were a prisoner, if you were stuck in some contractual obligation that you need to be somewhere, if you were a seafaring man who spent long journeys on the seas, and you want to return to your family. All these things, Jupiter would signify liberation from that imprisonment. But the key difference is that Jupiter is a season, just like Saturn is a season. Right, that's the spring. Where that's a spring from Saturn's winter. Because Saturn let me think about that. Yeah, because in the exaltation scheme, the sun is exalted in Aries, then to Mars, exalted in Capricorn, then to Saturn, exalted in Libra, yes, and then from Saturn exalted in Libra to Jupiter exalted in Cancer. So yes, the sequence of the angles is progressing in that direction. So it's the spring out of winter. So these are not the same kind of liberation. Jupiter brings relief from hardship. It brings ease. It brings opportunity. Saturn closes up opportunity. It puts you in prisons where you can't do anything. Which is basically what life is, by the way. It's a prison. Life on Earth is a prison. But Jupiter gives relief from that. It's the greater benefic. Saturn is the greater malefic. So Jupiter provides relief from Saturn's nature. Uranus is a liberator in a very different sense. Uranus shows you that the way out is in. Right? Jupiter will show you, here is the way out, here are the actions you can take, here are the opportunities that you can act upon to have a enjoyable relief from a negative, limiting, imprisoning situation. Uranus liberates you from cycles entirely. So Uranus shows you the interconnectedness of all things. Uranus shows you the Jupiter and Saturn. It shows you the Sun in Saturn. It shows you the Mars and Sun. It shows you the Mars and Saturn. It shows you the union of opposites. And in that way, all magnetism causing the turning of wheels, such as would be the turning of wheels in the zodiac and its angles, which create the seasons, right? Something is turning that wheel from the nadir and Saturn to Jupiter on the ascendant to to the Sun on the midheaven, and from the Sun on the midheaven to Mars on the descendant, and back to Saturn on the nadir. There is a turning there, and things turn by way of electromagnetism. That's how a motor works, by the changing of polarities of poles of positive and negative. Right across from the Sun is Saturn. That's positive and negative. In another sense, Jupiter in that scheme is across from Mars, which is again positive and negative. Uranus neutralizes things. Uranus creates superpositions. Uranus is an indefinite state. Uranus creates entropy. Uranus creates heat death. Uranus creates dead batteries. They're neutral because all energy is equalized. In that way, seasons can no longer exist because that wheel of turning is now neutral. It does not have the electromotive force, the electromagnetism to turn it. So, Uranus is what plucks us out of that prison. It creates liberation from the seasons. Not the kind of liberation, it's not relief, it's not ease, it's not enjoyable, happy things. It's the kind of liberation of when you're in such a dire, imprisoning situation, such as Saturn. Right, not to forget that Uranus lives in a house with Saturn. It's called Aquarius. They co-rule a sign together. Uranus doesn't live with Jupiter. Uranus doesn't live with the Sun. Uranus lives with Saturn. It's when you're in an imprisoning situation and you go within yourself to see the interconnectedness of all opposites that the seasons die and everything comes back to a oneness. Once you see the tethers that connect everything as one, they all converge back into a singular point, an indefinite point. It's a return to the entropy. It's a return to the randomness. And in that indefinite state, there is no more seasons. Well, what are we being relieved from, really? We're being relieved from a prison of cycles. And that prison of cycles is Saturn. They say the world is, people act like the world is purely torturous. And I would disagree. In the grand scheme of things, we have the yugas. And the Satya Yuga is the golden age. It's solar. It's perfect and beautiful. We have the Kali Yuga, which I say is the age of lead. Traditionally they say it's the Iron Age. But I say it's the age of lead. It's the base worthless metal. And we experience all those different seasons. We experience high, beautiful lifetimes that are enjoyable, and then we experience lifetimes of hardship and strife. It's beautifully, brilliantly, and perfectly balanced, just like the zodiac is. And essentially, the beginning of that imprisonment of that cycle is Saturn. It creates those bounds, right? Uranus does not see a zodiac. Uranus does not see a zodiac because the zodiac is a series of separations. Division begins with Saturn. It creates these imprisonments. But you have to ask the question, why is this? Why are you you? Why are you you? Why are you having an experience as an individual with this unique blueprint for your life that we call a natal chart, that tells you what all the highs and the lows of your life are going to be? Why do you have such a specific experience? It's because if we can create these, this level of structure, this definition of boundaries, so you can have a particular experience, then you can work alchemically with that particular experience with a fine comb, fine brush comb, and like a laser precision to alchemize that particular fragment and fracture of reality. It's a way of understanding, because most possibilities are fragmenting. It's only the non-dual light that is so perfectly and brilliantly harmonious that everything can come together as one. Most possibilities in that darkness, in that primordial darkness, in that chaos, 99.9999999% of possibilities are fragmenting. Yeah, it's the light expanding out into the darkness, infinite darkness, which is distant from that non-dual light, causing the fragmentation. So, to bring it back around, we are being perfected through limitation, through rigid structure and boundaries. We are being perfected, and we're becoming masters via the specific situations that we attract through our natal chart. I make that point very clear, that we attract through our natal chart, because it's not like we as individuals down here are consciously making the decision for what we want to experience. We are having situations kind of imposed upon us by the intelligence that exists within our unconscious. And so when a being which has not been perfected through the excruciating journey of passing through all of Saturn's trials, not through one lifetime, but through millions of lifetimes, when that being becomes a creator being, it becomes a bastard god. We really are children. We really are God's children. It's like letting a child run a household, giving them the power of creation. What a ridiculous world that would be if we gave a child the power of a god. It's a child. It's infantile. Has barely any understanding. It doesn't understand the consequences of the extremes at which it would pursue through its imagination. It's a child, and we're all still children. Our understanding has not been perfected, has not been mastered. Saturn really is the great teacher. It's associated with a lot of bad things. It's actually associated with, I believe it was Fabian's Valence from Hellenistic astrology. So it's associated with possession, which makes sense because it's the opposite of the sun, and the sun is, purges possession, purges bad spirits, and the negative influence of the stellar rays. Saturn is associated very often with not being able to see a way out of a situation. If somebody has like Saturn, a particular Saturn transit or Saturn on an angle in their chart, they may find themselves in a situation, like a job situation, that is toxic, and it's really draining them, and it feels like a prison. And there are people around them that are looking at them and they're like, why don't you just do this and get out of it? And the person with the Saturn transit or Saturn natal aspect, they can't see that. They're like blinded. They're in the dark. Saturn is the dark. But the idea is, if you go all the way through that darkness, you reach a puzzling new light. It's really, 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 really deep down. And that light is a light of perfect wisdom. That's chokhmah. Okay? Chokhmah is wisdom. And guess what? Binah is understanding. That's what the word binah means. Chokhmah means wisdom. Binah means understanding. We need, and anybody in Kabbalah will tell you this, you need binah to understand the wisdom of chokhmah. You have almost no direct experiential understanding of chokhmah. It's beyond your understanding. That's why Saturn initiates you into Uranus. That's why Capricorn initiates you into Aquarius. You need, and this is why this prison that we call life is so enduring. It's why this cycle of samsara and this cycle of the zodiac is so enduring, because how would anybody find the way out when the way out is through all the disgusting dark shit? Right? Saturn rules bad, unpleasant things, ugly things, you know what I mean, filth, like a bog. Who wants to go through the bog? You know? Who wants to go searching for the philosopher's stone in the bog? But as Jung says, in tranquillitas invenitur, in the filth it will be found. And so that's why almost nobody finds their way out of this cycle, is because nobody's looking. They're looking. You hear these people on YouTube, I know you've heard this. You've heard these people that like rail against like the overly hippie types, and they're making fun of the love, light, and namaste style people. And I guess there is a certain charm to a YouTube channel like mine that is like brutally honest, and also speaks of the dark aspects of reality, because we are in the Kali Yuga, so it's kind of hard to miss all the dark shit around us because it's freaking everywhere. But what these people are talking about when they say love, light, namaste, they're talking about the sun. Love, light, and namaste. They're talking about an approach to spirituality that focuses on all the cute and cuddly and pleasant and enjoyable and bright and invigorating and positive things. Yeah, I mean that's most people's approach to spirituality, I feel. So yeah, I mean, the idea of being a shadow worker is pretty smart, because the sun is basically the false light. It's true. People have experienced spiritual ecstasy and spiritual rapture from it, but as I've said in my Conjunctio video, that's just drawing from the Satya Samskars. That's just drawing from your experiences as a new soul in the Golden Age in your past. You're not actually transforming yourself on any level. You're having the first-person experience of spiritually ecstatic states, but not in a way that engenders true understanding or true transformation. Working with the sun does not make you an alchemist. Holding gold in your hands does not make you an alchemist. An alchemist is somebody who transforms lead into gold. It's like, congratulations, you worked with your love light, namaste, you work with the sun, you found gold and you're holding it in your hands. Congratulations. Now let me throw some lead in your hand. You turn that into gold. And watch them not do it. It's impossible to become an alchemist without working with lead, which is what Saturn rules. Saturn rules lead. Essentially, we are having all these limitations and obstacles and hardships and brutal agony placed upon us as a form of creating self-mastery. A master is responsible at the wheel of creation. God is a master. Because God carries with it the Logos Spermatikos. The Logos Spermatikos, the word of pure, brilliant, perfect reasoning that pervades all of creation, that makes everything into a harmonious cycle. It makes sense. Everything in our world makes sense. It's because God is the master. Now, what happens when you profess what Pete Sapper professes? Once again, I don't know if I mentioned it in this video. I mentioned it in my live. I have a lot of love for Pete Sapper just as a guy. He's like a passionate dude who's gone through a lot of the same experiences that a chosen one has gone through. He is a chosen one. I just fundamentally disagree with him ideologically. Teaches, as his teachers taught him, like R.J. Spina, that you should be an infinite creator. And I ask, why? Now, I guarantee you that if you are watching my channel, you are not a master. Oh, so what? Shadow's Return, you're a master? No! I'm not. I'm not a master. And Pete Sapper is not a master. And guess who's really not a master? R.J. Spina. In fact, I'm about 90% sure that guy's a narcissist, which is like really puzzling, because like 90% of the things he has to say are really productive, awesome, and healthy. But after just digging into that guy and then just looking at after listening to the things he says and just looking into his eyes, I'm about 90% sure that guy is literally a narcissist. So kind of puzzling that guy teaches what he teaches. But it just goes to show that everybody, even a narcissist, can have amazing things to teach. But point being, none of these people are masters. And when you give these people the power of creation, they'll create a fucking gross cacophony of reality. And thank Christ, thank God Almighty, that they do not possess any true power of being able to bend reality completely to their will. The greatest claim to fame that R.J. Spina has is reversing paralysis. And if you look into that, the form of sepsis that afflicted him actually easily relieved. So paralysis was not actually a very big guarantee for that guy, and he used his recovery as a way of proving that he's an infinite creator. He's not performed many feats beside that, and he has catapulted his career based off of that, charging like $7,500 prices for his courses. Charlatan. Sorry, that just came out of me because it's true. But he still says a lot of great things that he learned from other spiritual schools. Let this be a RJ Spina hate video for about a minute, even though he says a lot of great things that are really useful. He's been caught as part of his courses. His students have caught him literally stealing word from Gnostic texts and passing it off as his own knowledge. And he says in his videos, it's like, no, that's just an idea. That's just a belief system that you came up with. It's not direct experiential knowledge like I have. Fucking liar. You are literally just taking ideas from all these other spiritual schools and passing them off as your own. But yeah, it's like none of these people are masters. Mastery takes many, 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 many lifetimes. And that's what keeps bringing us back here. You know what keeps reincarnating you? It's Saturn saying you're not good enough. More importantly, Saturn providing evidence and proof that you're not good enough. You won't be good enough until you're at the station of God. Okay? That's why we willingly keep coming back down here. So like I was saying before, thank God that these people do not have the power of creation that they profess and believe themselves to have. They are not the miracle workers that they seem to believe that they are. They cling to their more minor accomplishments, their high points in their life as evidence of a more general pattern of being able to bend reality to their will. But really, the truth is, like all of us, they're mired in great limitation because Saturn rules our ass. Limitation rules our ass. And thank God for that. Thank God that the power of creation, the power of source, of infinite creation, the power of Uranus, not to forget, the Uranus is the brilliant sphere of creative potential in motion, that of quantum indeterminacy that could be anything at any time, the randomness that encompasses all possibilities. Thank God that power does not lie in the hands of a mere child. A child, you watching this video are a child, and I am a child, and we're just a little bit more mature than the other children on this planet. But good God, we have so much blindness. We have so much. We have so much to learn. We have so much discipline to develop. We have so much responsibility to learn. To just jump over to holding the power of infinite creation in your hands. You absolute lunatic, mad dipshit. It's silly. Stop focusing on manifestation so much. Focus on the lessons that you have to learn. Focus on the limitations. Well, you think it was just a fucking accident? You make up all these stories. You make up, oh, there's this evil guy called Beelzebub that just wants to suck our energy and make us suffer. No! This is probably my most animated video. No, Saturn is a hand of God. And Saturn is, it's all part of God's plan. It's not some fucking stupid created myth that you came up with, saying that he's here to suck your energy. What kind of stupid ass fucking story is that? That there's some higher God that created all this? It's like, oh yeah, I can't pluck them out because I gave them free will. They have to be allowed to make their own choices. Stupid. We are here to evolve. And we are here to evolve through the lowest, basest levels of reality. And that's why I'm saying embrace the Saturnian current. With maturity. Learn discipline. What's Saturn trying to teach you? Don't worry. Don't you worry about what Uranus and Neptune are trying to teach you until Saturn's done with you. That's what Saturn is there for. Saturn is quality control. The power of creation is sacred. The power of Keter, of source, of Chokhmah, of creation, of creative potential, power in motion. The power to turn anything into anything at will is sacred. to leave it in the hands of the profane, of a child, a mere child, is madness. What planet is responsible for discipline and maturity? Is Saturn. Pete Sapper. And everyone like you. I love you, Pete Sapper. This is a message to all the spiritual community. Are you mature? Are you perfected? And if not perfected, why should you hold the power of creation in your hands? Why should you become a god? I'm sorry, I got a long drive ahead of me. I got to be a little impassioned here. The power of a god. Eye asher eye. I am that I am. I will be what I will be. The power to hold the infinite in your hands. To hold Neptune in your hands is to hold the infinite potential of all creation in your hands. You who have not passed Saturn's trials, you who have not mastered detachment, you who have not developed the maturity of the old man that Saturn would give you, learn the lessons, ate your karma, experienced the transformative lessons of your karma, experienced the great, deep, rich well of wisdom that's in your shadow, in your darkness, the shadow of your deeds, the wickedness that you have committed against your fellow man, cloaks you. You are drowning in the darkness that you have created. And you would speak of being a creator. No. Before being a creator, you will be an alchemist. The power to be a creator is the philosopher's stone. The folly, the arrogance of jumping right over to being the wielder of the philosopher's stone without first becoming a master of alchemy. No. The power of manifestation is not yours. And dear viewer, I beseech thee that you look to your natal chart. Fate, your prison, your cell. Yes, your fate. Guess what? It's there for your enrichment. Your prison is there for your enrichment, and you want to turn reality into whatever you want. What would you turn it into? What would you turn it into, your little Disney Wonderland? Would you turn it into your theme park of pleasant, happy things? Your orgasm? You really just don't get it. That's Jupiter. You're just ensnaring yourself in the cycle even deeper. You're just jumping and clinging after all the light, love, light, and namaste. And disavowing the darkness. You who lust for infinite summer. You who wish that summer would never end. Winter cannot be stopped. The only thing that can be stopped is all of the seasons. To bring the seasons to a close, you must pass through Saturn and Saturn's trials. You must pass through all of the prisons that you've created for yourself. The labyrinth of shadows. You must pass through the labyrinth that spans millions of lifetimes. You must pass through your karma. You must willingly accept the limitations that are imposed upon you until you need nothing outside of yourself. When you can find perfect contentment and perfect completeness inside of yourself, that is where you will find the philosopher's stone. Insterquilinus infinitur, in the filth it will be found. That was a fun video. Yeah, I remember that guy's video from my Death of Venus video. The guy I was talking about that said, "Don't take revenge because God hits harder." We Are the Chosen Ones Ministry. That's his YouTube channel on YouTube. Go check him out. We Are the Chosen Ones Ministries. I wanted to give a sermon today. I wanted to rave like a lunatic, and I did it. I'm proud of this video. Thanks for watching, and embrace Saturn before you embrace the infinite.